Hi everyone, welcome back to Sheerio Talk. Hello, Kari.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Today we're gonna go back from a year ago. It's gonna be a lot of nostalgia. I've seen lately you've been posting on your stories a lot of throwbacks, videos, images of what happened to you last year. Um, Crying a lot.
Crying a lot, yeah, so there were a lot of tears.
Yeah, I think today is gonna help you to reminisce, and we're gonna do that together. And maybe it's the time for you to share maybe the things you couldn't share online or in such details for your story. But before we talk about the main subject, which I'm sure everyone knows already, I want to go back to your story, how you became a Sheerio. It's the time for you to introduce yourself. Then I'm going to ask you, like, what was the first time you discovered Ed and stuff like that.
Okay. So my name's Kari Conaway. I don't know how much details I should give you. I live in California, USA, but I'm from West Virginia, USA, but I
Mm-hmm.
just recently moved here. How I became a Sheerio, I don't do this for every artist. I don't think I've even done this for another artist, but I remember the first time I ever heard Ed Sheeran's, like the first song I've ever heard of his, which was A-Team. I
Mm-hmm.
was in my freshman year of high school, and I was in my science teacher's classroom, and my friend and I were listening to iHeartRadio because we weren't allowed to use YouTube or Spotify for anything. Well, I think we could use Spotify, but it was tricky. So we were listening to iHeartRadio, and the A-Team came on, and me and Jenna were like, "This is a good song," not knowing what it was about, but
Yeah, okay.
nonetheless, still a good song.
What year was this?
2012. Yeah, so I remember the moment I heard A-Team for the first time, and I don't think I can do that for any other artist, which is crazy to me. So ever since then, I was like, I remember Jenna being like, "Who's Ed Sheeran?" And then I was like, "I don't know, but it was a good song." Um, and then yeah, I just went on from there. Did not know that my life would be like this now.
It sounds like when you heard the A-Team, it was the first time you experienced something like that with music. Like before, you weren't a fan of somebody else's and being like almost addicted to their music.
Addicted. I love the pun. It was the first time, only time.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Like, it doesn't happen for every song or every artist, but yeah, it shows how we connect to music.
Of course, yeah.
So, from that point, you went and looked on Spotify for him, or like, how did you listen to the rest of his music?
I would go to YouTube and listen to the songs. I don't think at that time I was buying physical CDs anymore, so I never had a physical piece of his album. I always just went to streaming services or to YouTube or listening on the radio. I just kept listening from there.
So would you say the A-Team was the song that made you a Sheerio, or like at this point you weren't a Sheerio yet and you listened to another song later that made you a Sheerio?
I don't know what song really did it for me. I think it was just the collective of everything because I even remember I was obsessed with One Direction. And when I
Mm.
found out that he wrote Little Things, I was like, what can this man not do? Like I don't know if there was like one particular song. I do know that Photograph has like been with me through it all. Maybe Photograph made me a Sheerio and like cemented it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Photograph video is really special.
Listen, it is a problem how many times I've watched the music video to Sheerio. Like, I will listen just to the song, like on Spotify or on the radio or something, and I can hear what's happening in the home video
You're
audio.
picturing the video at the
Mhm.
same time you're listening.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
embarrassing, honestly, but it's fun.
No,
It's
of
fun.
course not. Each one of us has a superpower, like something we are like we are experts on. And for you, it's probably this one. It's really cool.
I'm gonna solve crimes with, hearing Ed Sheeran's home videos on that song. That's funny.
Who knows? Maybe that will be helpful one day.
Maybe.
So after that, did you try and go to his concerts? When was the first time you saw him for real?
I saw him live for the first time. It wasn't until 2017 Divide Tour. I never went to concerts before then, like maybe like some with my family. I went to a Demi Lovato concert in like the 5th grade and a Cody Simpson concert in the 7th grade. Other than that, like I think Ed was probably my 3rd or 4th concert that wasn't considered like a Christian music jamboree or something like that.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned One Direction then.
If I could have gone to a One Direction concert, I would have. If I could
Oh,
go back in
really?
time. If I could go back in time, I would go and watch Five Sauce and One Direction in the same night. That would be my time capsule or my time
I
travel.
know. So let's go back to the main question.
I mean, yes.
So Divide Tour in Los Angeles or?
No, I was in college in West Virginia, so it was Pittsburgh that I went and saw him in Pitt, the second leg.
How was this experience for you?
So fun. I was on the floor, but I was like the section back and I knew all the words. The only song I didn't know the words to was I think he did A Man's World or whatever that song's called. He covered it, which is the only song he sang that wasn't his. And I remember the lady in
A Man's World, really?
yeah, it's something like that.
I have no recollection of seeing this cover of him. That's
It
weird.
was back in Pittsburgh. The woman behind me or in front of me was like side-eyeing me the whole time. She was like, "Wow, we need to switch seats." It was hilarious. I was not calm the entire time. It was great. I love his shows.
And what's your reaction when you feel this kind of people looking at you? Like when you feel the eyes in your direction, what's your reaction? What do you feel at that moment?
I embrace it. I
Cool.
I I don't let anyone stop me from it because I physically can't. Like, it's pure adrenaline at that point. I can't
Cool.
be responsible for what is done. Like, it's just
You live in the moment no matter
oh,
what.
100%, yeah. I live in the
Okay.
moment.
It's important to mention that because other fans would feel embarrassed or wouldn't let themselves, feel that way. And I definitely have a lot of friends I go to concert with that aren't as loud as me probably. And, each individual have their own personality at shows and they are free to act the way they want. But
Mhm.
I feel like some of them are definitely trying to keep their cool. You
Right.
know what? Because they feel judged and they just don't let it go 100%. And sometimes when they go with me, then they relax more.
I
And
love that
like my presence helps them feel less crazy. So
because 'cause you're more crazy. I love that.
yeah, yeah. Like for everyone listening, if you're embarrassed to act the way you want to act, and you don't feel like you can relax as much, bring someone crazy next to you and you'll feel better.
Bring me along. I'll
Yeah,
counteract for you.
call me. I'm here.
I got no
Anyways.
plan. Yeah.
And did you go to another show after that?
Yeah, so I have seen Ed. It was Pittsburgh, by the way.
Mhm.
I correct myself. It was the Feeling Good cover, not Man's World, which is very funny to me because I don't know how I mixed those 2 songs up. Anyways,
Now it makes sense. I know my Ed covers. See?
I was like, as soon as I was like, that doesn't sound right, so I had to look it up. Anyways, so I saw him back in 2018. It was 2017 when the album came out, obviously. So
Mhm.
2018, and then I saw him in mathematics twice. So I saw him in Pittsburgh again back in last July. Then I saw him for the mathematics tour here at SoFi in September. But then I also went to the Shriners the day before, and then I saw him at my house, if you want to count that as a concert.
We'll come back to that.
Um, and then I think I've seen him 4 or 5 times. Yeah.
Okay. I was asking that because I've had other conversations with fans. Ed was their first concert. It wasn't your first concert, but as I understood it, like, you were younger before and stuff. So I felt like maybe this would have felt like your own experience wanting to go to a concert, experiencing Ed for the first time live. And we all know how, like, his shows are mind blowing, especially because in the Divide tour, he was alone, completely alone on stage.
Right.
So I wanted to see what was your reaction, because I've had other fans telling you, okay, I've never seen a show before. Ed was my first concert, and now I'm crazy, and I feel like I want to go to every show, and I can't stop.
Well, no, that's very accurate. Yeah. I'm definitely not missing another Ed show. He just knows how to captivate an audience and own a stage and do his job, and he does it very well. He's very talented in that way.
At that point, he basically became more famous in the US, because when you said you discovered the A Team, you weren't really sure who Ed Sheeran was.
Yes.
So, what did you think broke him through, like, when people knew him the most?
I would say A-Team got really popular. Kiss Me and uh, Give Me Love and Lego House were all on the radio, so that helped. But I think,
Oh, wow.
especially for the US, I think the Multiply album with Don't and Sing and um, I think those are what really like broke him out in the US.
Okay. I think same in France. His big moment was Thinking Out Loud, probably.
Oh my gosh, how did I not say that one? Yes, Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the other singles, but I could like Don't and Sing are in my head right now. So yeah, Thinking Out Loud was I love every time that he right before he introduces it, he's like, if you don't know this next song, you're at the wrong show, which is if you don't know the next song, then you have lived under a rock for the last 10 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
Thinking Out Loud is the one that broke him out and
Yeah.
was
Okay.
his biggest song until Shape of You, of course.
Yeah, of course, Shape of You. I felt like most people knew Ed, but until Shape of You, that's when he became like this global
Mhm.
phenomenon.
Everyone's heard of Shape of You, yeah.
So you didn't have any Sheerio friends at that time, because you kind of listened by yourself or went to concert by
Yeah.
yourself.
I think I have like, everyone's known Ed, but I have converted the majority of my friends who are Sheroes. I don't wanna take care of it for all of them just in case I wasn't, but I have converted a lot of my friends into the fandom. Um,
That's interesting.
Very fun. Very fun to ruin my friends with this lovely, lovely man.
Well, do they say you ruined them, or maybe more like thankful you ruined them?
They're probably thankful. No, when they go to a concert with me, I'll probably ruin their eardrums, but other than that, it's great. It's great to be, I'm trying to think of the word.
Uh, an influencer of music.
Yes, an influencer of music. I like that. I like that
Yeah,
a lot.
great. You know what, Kari? When I saw your profile, you know what I noticed is that it's true you had the most, like, the craziest experience no one could ever dream of to happen to a fan, first of all. Not only you had this experience, but you weren't really like a loud fan online. You don't really have a fan account that screams, I'm here, Sheerio, I'm fan of Ed Sheeran. Like, it's your normal account, right?
Mhm.
That you have on Instagram. I wasn't aware of you. It's not like I wasn't really online before, but I don't think people were really aware of your account. So the fact that you were this normal girl from LA that, got picked and got this lucky experience, I think that meant a lot, because it shows that anyone
Mhm.
could have this kind of moment. And it's not because you have a fan account or you're the loudest or you go to, how many shows or how many things you buy or do or project or, you know, it's not about that. It's just a love of music. And I like that.
Yeah. Um, no, I haven't just I think I'm just too much of a procrastinator to actually make a set account. So it's like what I said earlier about me just not being ashamed of like when I'm in a concert and going crazy. It's the same online. Like I'm not afraid to lose a follower if they don't want to hear about Ed Sheeran when I want to tweet about Ed Sheeran.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just gonna do it because it's my page and I just don't need like an extra account to be like plus
Yeah.
there's so many already that'll beat me to all the news. So I'm just like, I just follow everyone and be like, yeah, and then I post it online
Hmm.
because everyone
There's
already
two
knows that I love
reasons, right?
them. Yeah.
There's two reasons. Some people do it because they feel creative, they want to post things, they have plenty of ideas, so that makes sense for them to have an account.
Yep.
Some people just do it to separate their private account
Mhm.
from their fan account.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily post anything, they just use it to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
And that's cool that you can feel free to post whatever you want between your own photos of everyday life and concerts photos of whatever, which is, by the way, everyday life as well.
True. I'm also just really bad at Instagram. Like I don't post. Like my last post was New York, which was over a year ago now. Um,
Mm,
Yeah, I'm bad at it. So it's procrastination and laziness and just not feeling creative enough because there are some creative people out there with accounts like you're right about. Like I just haven't done it,
you
but
you don't have to if you don't feel the need to. I was just pointing this out, like, this is nice.
Mhm,
It's just something I noticed that I felt was cool because we don't really know how you got picked, basically. We're gonna go into the details.
mhm.
But first, when was the first time you met Ed?
May 7th, 2023.
The day even.
Yes, because it was 2 days after Subtract came out. The day Subtract came out, he had that core hearing in New York, so then he went to the New York pop-up, and then that was on a Friday. Saturday, he was in Texas to kick off the mathematics tour in the US, and so he went to the pop-up that day, and I had already planned to go to the pop-up on Sunday, and then I was noticing that he was at the pop-up, but then the girl who posted it that said that she met Ed at the pop-up, I went to her profile and she said that she was from LA, and I was so mad. I thought that I missed it. And then I realized that he was not in LA. But then, like an hour later, he had posted that he was going to be in LA, and I was like, yes, I had already planned to go on Sunday. So then I woke up at like 6 a.m. I got in line at 8
Mm,
a.m. I was like 40th or 50th in line. You had to be in the store. And whenever he was performing outside on top of the double-decker bus, um,
yeah.
they closed the doors. Someone around, they weren't telling anyone, Amex wasn't telling anyone what to do, but someone said that they were closing the doors. And so my gut feeling was to like miss the performance and stay in the store. And then someone came up and was like, hey, you're going to get to meet Ed. Will you sign this so it's okay that you can be on camera? And I was like, you're not real. This is not real. This is not happening. And immediately started crying.
Oh,
Signed it.
so you knew before he showed up.
Well, before he showed up inside, yes.
Yeah.
But when he showed up and like did the performance, some gut feeling was like, miss it, don't go outside. So I stayed inside.
That's
Um,
crazy because most people would run.
I do know some people that did.
So, for everyone who's listening, maybe if you're not following, we're talking about Subtract pop up by Amex. That's right.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
happened in LA. And of course, we'll post the photos so you can see. But it's the pop up that was really like the scenography and the design inside was really great with many activities, with like a wall you could paint, with like many scenes, designs you could stand in front of to take a photo, like the one when he's writing in on the album for Subtract, many things like this. So we'll show you on the photos if you missed it. Anyways, back to you, Kari.
Mhm,
So you sign this form, and
mhm.
then Ed is gonna come inside, and what?
I remember I was coloring on, they gave, like, little prints and, like, little crayons so you could color the album cover,
Mhm.
and so I was coloring it, trying to stay calm. I look up, and Ed's on the other side of the room, and it's, like, actually Ed Sheeran, like, not on a screen, and I just looked back down and kept coloring because if I had reacted any other way, it would have been explosive, and Kevin probably would have kicked me out. No, n really, um,
So
but
coloring is you trying to keep it cool, right? It's
yes.
like when
I
they
tried
say,
so hard.
like, coloring is a meditative activity to
Yes, it definitely was.
okay.
And just kept on coloring, looked up and kept on coloring, and then everyone was looking at me too because I'd already, like I'm pretty sure I'd already cried, and I had my ukulele, so everyone already knew me as, like, the ukulele girl because I brought a Divide ukulele to it, and so everyone was, like, looking at me, like, trying to, like, figure out if I knew that he was in the store, and I was just, like, trying not to scream, pretty much. It was great.
Did they organize anything, like a line for him to go chat to everyone or sign things?
Yeah, we were in, like, groups of 4 or 5, I think, and we had, like, a little line, and so we had, like, a little section here and a little section here and a little s so they divided us up pretty well. Divided us up pretty well. Um,
Uh-huh.
ha ha ha. And so just to make it more personal and, like, it was a really strategic way that they did it with being in groups, like, you had more time with Ed, and also it wasn't a chaos of one line.
Okay, because I have a question for you. So
Okay.
actually, I knew you were at that pop-up
Mhm,
because obviously they filmed some vlogs, videos.
mhm.
On the videos and also on some photos that, were on articles about this pop-up, your picture is there with Ed with your ukulele. And Ed is laughing with you. Like, I don't know what you said to him, but it looks already like you're besties from my
Um,
perspective.
we're besties.
Kari,
Yeah.
what happened at that pop up when you met Ed, and what did you say to make him laugh like this?
So you know how you, like, black out?
No, don't tell
Mhm.
me this.
No, okay, so I do remember the Liam video, like, Liam took it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what is being said at that exact moment, and I can't remember, but I will tell you the 2 questions that I did ask him. First of all, he's probably laughing at me every single time that he's been with me. He's just laughing about how my reaction to him being in front of me, it's never gonna change,
Really?
honestly. Yeah, no, it's
I think he would be pretty used to seeing fans being, getting emotional or loud or shy or whatever it is in front of him. So, what was about you that made him giggle so much?
I don't know. I think it might also have just been the questions that I was asking him. I don't think anyone has even paid attention to the things that I pay attention to for me to ask him. Um,
Okay.
the 2 questions were and I had a sign for one of them, so just in case
Yeah.
so I kind of figured that he was gonna perform it. So just in case I wouldn't get to meet him, I printed out a sign and it
Hmm.
said, "How did you order pizza to an airplane?" Like, no one else.
This question was so important to you that you printed it on a sign.
Yes. I had been thinking about it for a few years, and I'm like, "How do you do this?" Like, it's very particular, ordered pizza to an airplane. I just wanna know. Like
It's literally the lyric of a song that we all sing along to, but I
my
don't
favorite
think
from that album.
anyone has asked him that before. Haven't, questioned it before. I'm like, yeah, of course he said like he could do anything.
He did say I don't remember if it was that one or the other question I asked, but I think it might have been that one. Where he's like, "I don't think anyone's asked me that before." Like
No wonder he's giggling because I mean, that's really unique, especially on the sign. So when you asked him, did he see the sign you were carrying with you?
no, because I got to ask him in person. I was just gonna hold
Okay.
it up during the
Yeah.
double-decker performance, but I didn't end
Mm.
up needing to. I still have the sign though. It's really funny. Emojis.
I'm gonna ask you later with the story if he knew about the sign because I mean he would have find it hilarious that you wrote that question on the sign. I think.
I'll give it to him next time I see him. I'll have him sign it. Oh my
So
gosh.
what was the second question? I'm expecting crazier.
Um, this is a deep cut. So, oh, I have a question for you. What do you think is the saddest Ed Sheeran song? And not in terms of like just like all around sadness and your definition of sadness. What is your opinion?
Oh, you're hitting me with like a deep question now.
Just
Well,
like your definition and
I
your
don't
opinion.
know. I think, his music is so raw and he had a point in his life where he hit pretty low phases.
Mhm,
So he has written a lot of really sad songs.
mhm,
For example, when you think of Salt Water, if you think of the meaning behind that song, like, I don't think you can get sadder than this, but the song by itself, we were talking about this the other day with a fan. When you listen to that song, you feel this kind of peace inside. So
mhm,
the song itself doesn't make you feel sad. You feel relief, you feel peace, but you know that the song is so deep and it's so sad.
mhm.
Um, it could be like a trigger warning song for people that are sensitive to this subject
Okay.
because it's this sad. But in terms of if you're asking me like a song that makes me feel sad in terms of feeling,
Or content.
there's so many. So I'm thinking of happier
Okay.
because the contrast of like you're not getting that happiness is like it's like this song is literally talking about sadness, but I could name so many from Subtract, from all the grief songs, and even Divide had some song, like all the albums have some. So I don't know if I have a definitive answer to your question, but I hope I answered well anyway.
No, yeah. Is there a wrong answer? It's your opinion. There's no wrong answer.
I mean, I would need to think an entire day to give you
Right.
the real, the
Mm,
song.
of course. Um, my second question was a deep cut to Little Lady.
Mhm.
And once again, I don't think anyone's ever asked him this question before. But at the beginning of a song, there's a Mercedes that is mentioned. And at the end of the song, there's a Mercedes that is mentioned. And I
Mhm.
asked Ed if it is the same Mercedes.
What?
There's a reason why I asked this question because listen, everyone asks him what his songwriting processes are, what the first song is. Like everyone asks those type
Right.
of questions.
Right.
These are questions. My questions are not questions that are asked in interviews or anything, but like especially lyric wise, I'm always like what do you mean by that lyric? Like I wanted to know the story
Mm.
behind the pizza. I wanted to know if the Mercedes is the same because if it is the same, it just makes the song sadder. So there's a reason why I
Ah,
asked.
wait, I have to pull out the lyrics now because I don't know them by heart.
The second one is Mercs in the street. It's not Mercedes. So the first one is Mercedes, and then the second mention at the end is Merc. I'll wait for you to process. Mercs in the street.
Okay.
That's the lyric. Do you want me to tell you?
So the first line where the Mercedes
Mercedes
is
is
mentioned.
you work late. You was with a perv making dirty fake love in his Mercedes.
Okay.
And at the end, it is he dumps her body in the boot of his Mercs in the street.
Oh.
So, and that's his uncle or her uncle. So, it just makes it so much worse if it's the same Mercedes. So,
Yeah. When you listen to his songs, you start to analyze
mhm,
every little word and try to understand all the points to the story, basically.
Yes.
I love this because you started your story saying, I listened to the A-Team, but I was young. I knew I liked the song, but I didn't even know what it was about. So it's like you've learned from this experience, like you knew Ed was so deep in the lyrics that you wanted to understand every inch of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool,
I'm a very lyrics person.
right? That's one of your superpowers, I think. Another one.
Thank
You're
you.
sure your superpower. Okay, so what did he say?
He does not know.
What? All of this and he doesn't know?
I know. And it's funny because he said that he was gonna act. It's Meek Mill, right? Who raps it. It's either Meek Mill or Kill Payne. I'm not sure. He says that it's not his part, so he doesn't know, but he will ask him. And I said, okay, cool. But then afterwards, I'm like, well, then how are you going to tell me? How is my answer going to get fulfilled? But
Did you
it's
think that in your head or did you really ask him on the spot?
no, I thought it in my head. I should have
That
called him
makes
out,
sense.
but I didn't. I did to ask him later.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's
Um,
great.
did you want to know the answer to the pizza question or no?
Of course I do.
Okay. So he told me that it was Grammys night, but he decided not to go to the Grammys that year. But it was the year that he won. I want to say it was 2017. Well, whichever one. I still think it was Shape of You because he was with Cherry and they decided not to go to the Grammys, but then he ended up winning.
He did go, but he left straight away. They had booked a plane and they went to Iceland straight away.
Okay.
They didn't stay for the after party.
He was like, I'm not gonna win. So they left and he found out in the air that he did end up winning. So he was like, okay, we're gonna need to celebrate. So then they ordered Domino's to the tarmac. And I'm like to the airport? Like, and then he's like, no, to the tarmac. And I'm like, oh, you're rich. And that's the end of that story.
To recap, it's like past the security on
Yeah.
literally, like the tarmac is the road for the plane.
Yeah, I'm just that just gave me more questions. Don't you hate it when you ask a question and the answer gives you more questions?
Exactly.
Yeah, now I wanna know if, like, the delivery driver got to go on the tarmac, what was on the pizza, like, I wanna know so many more things, like, I just
He probably couldn't tell you what was the pizza. Let's be honest.
I know that I had shared that story with somebody else, and someone asked him what his favorite pizza toppings were, which I think is hilarious to ask celebrities,
Mm.
um, and they had sent me his answer and was like, "This is probably it," and I was like, "Thank you." I appreciate
Oh,
it.
so it's still on your mind to this day.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, he would eat any pizza, I think. So you ask him these two, let me say, existential question of yours, and he laughs, and you still leave with more questions in your mind.
Yes.
So if we could recap, that's the right recap, right? And he also signed your ukulele. That's right.
Yes. That was the first question he asked me. He walked up to me and said, "Do you want me to sign that?" And I said, "Of course. Of course I do." "Yes. What? Are you well, I actually don't remember what I said, but I don't even think I said anything. I just gave it to him. He pulled a Sharpie out of his pocket.
He's prepared. He's really used to this.
He is.
Before we started the episode, fun
Mhm.
fact, we both heard a noise
Oh my gosh.
coming from Kari, and she looked in the corner of her room and she said, Tina, did you hear that? What happened? And guys, you won't believe this.
Oh, so weird.
She had the ukulele on a ukulele stand next to a guitar, and no one touched the ukulele, but it moved on its own just before we started the recording.
It was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me.
So if anyone wants to give us the explanation for this phenomenon, please do, because we are really we are amazed right here. The ukulele wanted to make an appearance in the
Yes.
podcast.
It did not want to
So
be left out. And it
yeah, so we
definitely
had to
told me when.
mention the ukulele.
I'm so glad you witnessed that too, Tina, because that was crazy. I wouldn't have believed that.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's
So
really crazy, and it wasn't like it was wobbly before it used to move. Do you play ukulele often, or is it just for show?
called out. Remember when
Haha.
I said I was a procrastinator? Um, I have yet to master the ukulele. It is on my list. I have not forgotten about it.
You haven't even tried, like, learning some chords on it?
I have tried, yes. Honestly, one of the first songs that I learned was Photograph. I do remember. But, other than that, I don't really know any other songs. I also have yet to master the piano.
Yeah, you actually have a piano in your room, right?
And my guitar, which I also have yet to learn. It's fine. I'll get to it someday.
Okay, so here's a little reminder that you have instruments in your room, and they are probably jealous that they don't have their moment, and they are telling you, "Pick me up, please."
It has had a lot of attention this morning.
Right. Did you have a great experience at this pop-up because of, like, all the many activities that have planned that day? It looked really pretty on the photos.
It was so much fun, and I think it looks bigger in person than it did in the videos. So, like,
Mm.
you walk in and immediately to the left was the cabin boat thing. They had a guitar. It was a big, huge photo opportunity with like all the books on the shelf and the writing. And you could actually
Mm.
write Ed a little note in the book and he would take it afterwards. So I did write him a letter.
Oh, he kept
A
it.
little, yeah, I didn't take a picture of what I wrote, but I did mention Jupiter and Cherry and the court case and everything like that. And
Mm.
um, about um, Jamal. About Olive, subtract really. Um,
Yeah.
and then you walk, and then there's a photo opportunity with the blue monster, and then in the back was the Dobie.
Hold on. With, like, somebody was playing inside the blue monster, basically. It wasn't just like a figure.
Yeah, no, it was a actual blue monster.
That's really sweet. I love the blue monster. I put it as the mic on the podcast thing. I don't know if you see.
The mic on the podcast? Oh, I see it now. So cool. Okay. I see it. Yeah, so there was somebody in the blue monster costume, and he's actually in the background of my photo that my selfie with Ed.
Yeah.
But, and then in the back was there was something before the back. I think it might have been either lyrics or something. I can't remember what it was. And then the back was like Dolby, like good quality, surround sound of the songs and the videos from the songs. And then it was a big loop. So then you walk around and there's the painting wall. That was really fun. And then you
Yeah.
go out. Oh, and in between there and the little hallway was the merch was on the right
The
side when you walk
counter.
in. So
Okay.
if you go through the loop, the merch would be one of the last things you had. But the dock, that's the word I wanted. So there was the dock photo op, which I had whenever I think I posted it. That was my ukulele one where I
Oh,
was sitting on the dock.
yes. With, like, written, "The waves won't break my boat."
Yeah, and then the merch.
And so, did you meet other fans there? Were you there with friends?
I went by myself, but I left with friends. No, that was so poetic. Um, right behind me in line, I met them. We became friends. The people in front of me, I became friends with. We were all there for like 2.5 hours, just waiting and killing time. So it was really fun.
I mean, even if Ed didn't come by, I feel like that's always special to have this kind of experience.
It was very special.
Did we cover everything about that day?
I think so.
Okay. So you got this subtract experience, and I get from you that you are a really emotional, like, sensitive person. I feel like you really connected with this album and how Ed felt at that moment with his struggles, because you wrote him a little note and everything. So the next time you saw him again was back in September, right?
hmm
And so you got a message from his team.
Okay, so August 31st, 2023.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I can plug that in July of 2023, I got barricade at his concert in Pittsburgh. I asked one of his security men, Chris, if
Yeah.
he could get Liam because I wanted to say something to Liam real quick. And so right
Yeah.
before it came out, Liam came up and I wanted to personally thank him for putting me in that video twice to just to like solidify me in that like fandom forever. Little did I know. So 3 months later, but yeah, so I just wanted to like thank him a little bit. And then immediately Ed comes up, Tides was playing, and then Liam's on me for like I wanna say, like, 30 seconds, and me just, like, rocking out to Tide, and, like, I turned to my friend Liz, and I'm like, "Liz, if he puts me in another video, I'm going to personally write him a letter thanking him." And so,
Oh.
the next day, I get a text from one of my friends who was at that show, and was like, "Go to Ed's Instagram!" And I'm on, like, that video, and I'm like, "Dear gracious, Liam." And so then flash forward to August. It was a DM on Twitter because I had tweeted the same day saying that I thought it was funny that Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift are going to be in theaters the same day because she had just announced that October 13th, the Eras Tour movie was coming out. And Ed's cameo for that movie, Some Other Hood, that was also coming out October 13th. So I thought that was funny. So I tweeted that, and then 2 hours later, I get an email. No, okay. I was staying off Twitter until that weekend because I was going to see 5 Seconds of Summer and I didn't want any spoilers. So I almost missed this DM. My life would have been never changed. But because I was on like email, deleting emails and like trying to clear everything out, I'm looking at my screen and that's when like the DM came up and I saw that it was at Ed Sheeran because I know about scams. I do my research. And it says, "Hi, Kari. Ed is working on something super special for some of his biggest fans in the LA area, and we are hoping to get some additional information from you. If interested in hearing more, could you please provide us with a below full name, birthday, location, email address? Are you available in LA area on September 6th and 7th? Please do not post this online or share this message with anyone. Top secret stuff happening here. Promise this is not a scam. Looking forward to hearing from you. X." I am almost certain that I can share with you now,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, so
It's already happened. I think it's funny that they even know, like, you wouldn't believe this message and you would think it's a scam. So they even specify, like, we know, but it's not a scam. Like,
right.
really answer this message. So you answered, but did you get any information from them after you gave them your information?
They said immediately back that you should get an email from this one person
Mm.
to look out for it. And I said, "Okay, cool." And so freaking out, of course. Like I'm not okay, cool about this at all. But I was like, okay. Um, and then got an email, got everything situated, did not tell a single soul. I didn't even tell Brandy until she needed to sign the papers the day before.
Oh, no
She didn't
way.
even know anyone was coming to the house until the day before.
But at that point, when you have the email, do you know that's because someone's coming to the house? Or do you know maybe like there's an event and you have to be available on that day? Like, what do you know specifically? Because you won't really imagine that someone is coming to your house if they don't tell you.
They in the email, it said that it's going to be a merch unboxing,
Okay.
which would explain cameras. So that's why Brandon needed to sign it, is because I knew that cameras were coming. I didn't think
Mhm.
he'd show up. I,
Yeah.
of course, intrusive thoughts happen. So I made the friendship bracelet just in case. And I wrote Liam's thank you note the day of just in case. But I didn't think it was actually going to happen. And then, yeah, the DM said it was going to be a merch unboxing. I was like, cool. So that was all about the email, is just getting everything set up. The day of, I a cat shelter volunteering and smell like you would if you volunteered at a cat shelter. And I get a call from the film crew saying, "Hey, we're like a few blocks away, just letting you know." I was like, "Can you wait just a little longer?" So I rush home. I do a quick change.
Yeah.
My room was clean. And then I did a quick change, and then I did another quick change because my t-shirt, I wear the Subtracts t-shirt, and then but it matched the couch, and I was like, "I don't think I should wear this." So then I just
Yeah.
pulled that romper out, and it was too much information. So I then everything's set up, all that stuff, and they tell me, you can hear this in the video, so I wanna specify. They tell me that I'm going to leave the room, they're going to set the boxes up, and then I'm gonna come back out. So I go to the hall, like, I walk towards the hall door, and everyone's like, "No, answer the door," because there's a knock at the door. They're like,
Ah.
"Answer the door." And I was like, "But you told me to get out." So I answer the door, that chair was on the other side. I'm like, "Oh, oh my gosh." And the first thing he tells me, it's always the first thing that are zingers. The first one was, "Do you want me to sign that?" The next one was, "Did you see me on the Ring camera?"
Really? Oh my
First
gosh.
thing he says to it. Oh, so funny.
You have so much in common with Ed because the first thing he said to you is about this camera. Are you kidding me? Like, it's the same kind of question that you ask him.
Yeah, it's not the basic things, like, "Hello, did you see me on the Ring camera?"
Maybe
Which,
he
no.
was, doing funny faces in it to see if you notice.
There is a photo that was emailed to me. Mark took it. He's
Yeah.
pointing at the Ring camera, he's like, "Did we just get busted?" But no, my phone,
Oh, I think I saw something like that in the vlogs or
very funny.
but it rings a bell. Okay, that's really
Rings.
funny.
I turned my phone off. I was not getting distracted by anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. I was very much in the moment the entire time. And then Brady's phone was even off. She did not get the Ring message. We had no idea what was going on. It was great.
Let me read something, a post that Ed wrote to remind everyone. When he first posted the first sneak peek of the video at your house, I think he
Mhm.
posted this even before we knew what was going on in the houses and that he visited a few fans. We just saw that he was randomly at someone's house and he played Wake Me Up and he wrote, we got to Kari Conaway's house at the end of the day, and I instantly knew it was gonna be a fun one. They had cats, friendship bracelets, and some fruit drinks to start. But once I'd played the autumn song, I said, take me on a tour. And when I went into her room, I saw a piano. She asked if I could play, and I said, not really, but I kind of play on Wake Me Up.
Mhm.
That's also another part that is even crazier. So he remembered your house, particularly even more than other houses, because you were prepared. Carrie prepared friendship bracelets. She even had a cat. Like, good job on getting the cat because Ed was there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That cat was a paid
And
actor.
yeah, exactly. Like,
It was Brandy's cats, yeah.
you had prepared some fruit drink. Was this really prepared before? Like, what did you have
So,
in mind with the drinks?
this is how that came about. We were talking about the damper hamper.
Mhm.
We were just chilling. It was right after he sang the song. He's like, "Did you like it?" And then I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "What did you expect?" And I was like, "I thought it was just gonna be a damper hamper. Like, I just thought you were gonna be silly goofy." Um, and he was like, "Yeah, but would you actually, like, want, like, warm beer and like, days old mashed potatoes?" And I was like, "Honestly, yes." But then and then it's like and then we started talking about, I think that's what brought up the alcohol, and I was like, "Well, we got something," which I only have one thing here, and it's, amaretto and apple
Yeah.
juice, which is my favorite drink, and, he's like, "What's amaretto?" Which I think is absolutely hilarious because if you go to Birdie's Blossoms, they have amaretto, and what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Is
Um,
it like almond drink?
no, it's like a cherry-ish
Oh,
thing. I
yeah.
think that's what
Okay.
he's talking about with fruity.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so it's funny because back in college, one of my friends used to call it cherry juice, which is hilarious because do we know someone named Cherry? I got to tell him that. It was great. So I had the drinks were not prepared, but they are easy to prepare. Actually, I had plenty of amaretto. It was the apple juice that we were running low on. So we only got like a shot of something, but he thought it was
Okay.
really good. So it's Ed approved, which I tried to then tell the girls at Birdie's Blossoms to make it a drink, and they're not serious about making that effort, but I thought it was fun. No, all they needed was apple juice. The friendship bracelet I prepared before and the Liam's note
Yeah.
saying thank you note, which he was excited because he had never gotten a thank you note before. So we're besties.
Oh.
So those are really the only things that were prepared, other than I did clean the house for 2 days. Other than that, yeah, really fun.
Right now, you're wearing your T-shirt, and it's actually the gingerbread man delivery service T-shirt that we can see on the video delivering the damper hampers.
Yeah.
This is hilarious that he actually asked you about them. Like, do you really want them, guys? Is this a joke?
It's a joke, but yes. Yes, we do. We'll take anything, Ed. We'll take anything.
But I feel like I was in the way of your story, asking too many questions.
No, you're guiding my story.
And straight away, he sits you down to listen to the song, or like what
Mhm.
happens?
He came in, he said that the camera joke. He asked Brandy if she wanted to be in the video. So she came in the video. He's like explaining like what it actually is. He pointed at my ukulele and said, "Hey, I remember you." That was great. Um,
No
yeah,
way!
he remembered me from the ukulele, which
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure is the only one who brought a ukulele. It's great.
Yeah, but
Um,
it was still like a few months ago. It's
yeah,
nice.
but it was like his official merch. Like,
Yeah.
so he explained what was happening, side by side with the other album. He's doing a live version just for the fans in his friend's living room. And he was like, and yours is American Town. Me being explosive, I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, you've heard it? And I was like, no, but I saw the set list and I was really excited to hear this one.
Oh.
So then we sat down, we listened to the song, which I just want to say that this song, my mother would like to point out that like really describes my grandmother, who was an English girl living in an American town. So it was great. Very, very special. It was a very special pick for me. Um,
Wow. So you were really excited about that song even before, and
mhm.
even,
Before I knew what it sounded like. Yeah.
yeah, without even
Hmm.
knowing the lyrics and the story behind that.
It's very kismet. Yeah. Yeah. So he sat down, he played the song. He asked if we'd liked it. Of course. Is that a joke? Is that a how is that a question, Ed? Yes, of course we loved it. It was great. And then we started talking about the damper hamper and then asked if I asked him if he wanted a drink. We did the drink and then I said that it was named cherry juice. And he was like, well, Cherry and the girls just went back uh to check on the cats. And then Brandy was like, I have cats. And he's like, let's see him. This was after all the selfies. We actually took selfies and everything. He's like, let's
Okay.
see him. So then he goes to Brandy's room and meets the cats. But then I was like, if you're going to see Brandy's room, you're going to see my room. And so I opened the door. That's when he noticed my vinyl collection, all my instruments. Took out all of his albums and signed all of them like a king.
Without you asking anything?
No, just took out the Sharpie. Once again, he has a Sharpie in his pocket. Signed them. And I'm like, which is so funny because
Unbelievable, this guy.
I know
Unbelievable.
he knows without being asked. It's so funny because the Subtract CD that I got already had an insert that was signed, but he signed the top of it anyway, so it's like twice signed. It's hilarious. He um He goes over to the piano. It's so funny because he left this part out. When I
Mm,
asked him if he knew how to play, of course I remember it. He knows how to play. It's in the photograph music video
yeah.
that he's learning to play. I think piano was the first thing he learned how to play. But he's like,
No, I'm not sure. I think he learned, wasn't it like cello or something like that?
oh, I remember the cello video. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Something. And so he starts playing, he plays the chorus, Castle on the Hill, and then he asks for requests. And I said, wake me up. I needed it. And so he plays the entirety of Wake Me Up for me. And I'm like, and then in the video, I'm holding this necklace because back in, I don't remember what year it was, but one of my ex-boyfriends got me 2 necklaces from the jewelry store that was attached to his online store. And the one that I was wearing in the video was the Wake Me Up necklace. And then the one I'm wearing now is the Thinking Out Loud one, which
Mhm.
has the black paw print on a orange circle.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 Ed necklaces, and I got to wear the Wake Me Up one whilst he was playing me.
What a crazy moment.
Oh. And then he asked for any more requests, and Brandy loves Eminem and Ed, and
Yeah.
she's wanted to hear River. But of
Mhm.
course, most of River is Eminem rapping, but he
Mhm.
played the chorus of River just for her. And then he asked for any more requests, and I said Photograph because it's my favorite song. So he sang right on my bed with my guitar and played Photograph, and it was the best experience of my life. Second best experience of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and they never showed that part actually.
It is in that first TikTok 3-second moment of him playing it, and I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
It's not like a video. If someone had it, I just don't know who.
Wow. When I saw all this, I was like, first of all, Ed is brilliant. Like, I would even imagine this scenario possible.
Mhm.
Scenarios in dreams would be this, and you would even believe it could be real.
No, it's straight out of a fanfic.
I love how authentic you were, you know? You weren't trying to act
Mhm.
out in front of the camera. You weren't being, too shy and not overexcited, and you were just being yourself. And if you felt like crying, you just cried. And
I did.
I don't know, you were like just yourself, and I feel like that's one of the reasons that he really noticed you at the pop-up and after when he went to your house. And I'm really glad for you that you had this experience. And by watching all of your videos, guys, of everyone who got an Ed visit at their house, even if we other fans weren't there, we basically lived it through your eyes. So thank you for that, because you were basically the face of our little family of Sheerios experiencing this dream of ours for real. I mean, there's no words to describe that.
No, there aren't. It's just crazy, but thank you for saying that. That's very nice of you.
Oh no, that's just the truth. And so, how did you actually leave your house? How does Ed Sheeran gets to the point where, okay, I'm leaving now?
Nicole was like, "We gotta go." So
Hmm.
sad.
Like, how long was his visit?
Like 45 minutes. That man was here so long, and this is not me complaining, this is me being blessed. That man
45 minutes.
yeah. Before he left, I had more questions, AKA the stupid questions that I
Oh,
have.
there's more questions to come. Okay, hit us up.
I asked him if he ever got an answer on that one
Yes.
with he said no, he did not, but he's gonna say, without listening to it, he's gonna say, "Yes, it's the same Mercedes." He doesn't know what that means. So I said, "That do you know what that means? That just makes it so much worse." And he's like, "I haven't listened to that song in so long." I was like, "Go back and listen to it because you're going to be crushed if it's the same one." Anyway,
So you're
um,
like, you're telling Ed basically, no, Ed, I don't want to accept this answer, and no,
yeah,
and go back to listen to this.
go back to listen to it and call him up right now. I need to know. I have thought about reaching out to Mikhail and asking him just directly, but I don't think he responds to a lot of DMs.
So when you said he answered your question, was it
No,
after?
that was when we were walking from my room to the front door.
Okay.
Basically, after they said we need to leave, and I was like, okay. I also told him that he terrified me the first time I listened to the eraser because his accent, it makes it sound like he's saying eraser instead of eraser.
Yes, he said
That's
erase.
very jarring, but that's also not a very important thing to say to a pop global.
What was his reaction when you said that?
Brandy makes fun of me for thinking that, but
It's the most
he was
random
like,
questions ever.
"Listen, I don't have a filter, so I just think what I say and say what I think." But I just needed him to know that he needs to enunciate a little better. I can't really remember exactly what he said. Just hearing it for the first time, it sounded like a razor. If you hear it
Yeah.
now, you'll hear a razor and think, "Wow, she's right."
If you think of music in general, a lot of artists actually have to pronounce words in a different way, you know? In some songs, for example, Ed is British and he say, I can't. He doesn't say I
A
can't.
cult. Yeah.
But in his music, he said I can't. Because sometimes he has to pronounce words differently in order like for the lyrics to sound great in a song, um, and the rhythm and stuff like that. And
Right.
this is common for everyone, for all the artists in music in general. It's the same thing as when you say, I don't know, I'm going or I'm gonna, and it just sounds better. I mean, for you to pick on that, that's really funny. Um,
So he left pretty much after that. Um, and then I know that Mark asked me a couple questions, but I can't
mhm.
remember if it was just the film crew or not. But they stayed, asked a couple questions. I took a couple pictures with Brandy and the film crew of like my disheveled little face of what just happened, a
Mhm.
tear stained face. Because as soon as Ed walked out the door, I like laid on my sofa, put a pillow over my head, and everything just hit me. It just hit me what just happened,
Mm.
and I started bawling. And it is so funny to note that I had asked where Kevin was because, like,
Yeah,
where's Kevin? Like, he was
that's
not in the
actually a
house.
great question, and I noticed this as well.
Yeah, so Kevin was outside the entire time. So I was just like, "Where's Kevin?"
What?
Someone heard me say that, got Kevin to come inside. He's like, "Someone asked for me?" I'm bawling my eyes out at this point. I'm, like, in tears. I can't you can't even understand what I'm saying, and I'm like, "I just wanted to" what I'm trying to say was, "I just wanted to say hi because I said hi to you at the pop-up, but you couldn't say hi back because you were working." Because, like, when he was at the pop-up and there's, like, a lot of people there, he's, like,
Hmm.
serious,
He has to be poker face.
And so, I just wanna I seriously, gibberish came out, and he just, like, looked at me,
Aw.
and I was like, "Okay," and walked out. It was so great.
He said, "Okay."
I don't probably, I don't remember. That part was blocked out. I just remember Kevin standing there being really confused on why he was in the house.
The most awkward social situation.
And yeah, it was.
Oh, dear.
So that happened. Everyone left, and I was just left with the experience that had just happened. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was the craziest day, September 6th, 2023.
Yes, I don't think a day like that can be topped ever.
It can't. It really can't. Well, the night can't. The night can't. The day can. That was the best night of my life. In order to include both of them, I can say night and day.
Oh, okay. Did you ever ask them, like, "Guys, why me? Like, how did you pick me out?"
I've been wondering that ever since. Yeah, he said that he was glad that American Town was my video because he'd been using that song
To promote the album.
to
Mhm.
promote it. Yeah, he's been using, like, a couple main ones to promote the album, and that was one of the main ones.
He also did a video talking about that song with Courtney Cox,
Mhm,
with the line of, Friends, and
mhm.
also Magical because he was surprising people at their wedding with Magical.
I wanna talk to them. I would love to talk to those people or just find out anything about them. I wanna know their experience at that because he signed the certificate. To have an Ed Sheeran, autograph but it not being like an autograph to be a signature on such an important day of your life, that's crazy.
If you ever speak with them, please tell them I have a podcast and they are welcome to be my guest and for us to all know about their day. That would be great.
I think you have more of a chance at talking to them than I do. So you tell them I want to talk to them because I have a faith that you can get them on this podcast.
I don't know if that's true, but great. That's it. And I just want to know a last question about this, and then
Okay.
we have to move on to the next part because that was just basically the beginning of your bestie friendship with Ed, if I may call it this.
He did accept a friendship bracelet, so we are besties. That's the rules.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I approve. I just want to know a last thing, and then in part 2, you're gonna tell us all about your next experience, which wasn't in LA, but in New York. Okay, we're teasing the second part now. uh, my last question is, now this day is over, the crew left, you're all there sitting, not by yourself, Brandy's there. Okay. She's also there to be your witness. Like, she saw it with her own eyes because you're not dreaming, because you have a witness. Please tell us what you felt at that moment, what happened, and how did you cope with this? Because, I mean, even myself, looking at these videos afterwards, I think with the excitement, I don't know if I was able to sleep, or I think I was even excited by watching the videos. So first of all, I don't know how you cope with this. Even after concert, I can't cope. I can't even sleep because I'm too excited. I have the adrenaline, and you must like play everything backwards in your mind. And I can't
Mhm.
imagine what this feel like. And please also specify who is Brandy to you, because we've been mentioning her without even.
A proper introduction.
Yeah, exactly.
LOL. So what I'm feeling in the moment, I'm feeling a range of different emotions. I am disheveled. I am ecstatic. I am in shock. It's still crazy thinking about it now. It's like, what? I am just speechless. And we were very giddy. The first thing we did, Brandy had gotten her phone case signed. So the first thing we did after everyone left was we went to Home Depot
No.
to get, I think it was Mod Podge to solidify it. And I was trying to get something
Oh.
for my guitar because he signed my guitar too, but I haven't used anything for my guitar because I'm way too
Oh
scared
my
for it.
gosh. You really like the first instinct, your body instinct, you are crying. You
Uh-huh.
probably can't even see in front of
Yeah.
you. I
This
don't
was
even
like,
know how you'll be able to drive with this emotion. And the first thing, like the first instinct you have is to protect by all costs. Uh, the
yes.
Ed signature.
Yeah. That was
You guys.
Brandy, who is my roommate. We met online and I moved in. We're friends, roommates. When I came home, I journaled 6 pages front and back, just of everything that I could remember, just writing it all down. I remember FaceTiming one of my friends and he was like, "What are you so giggly about?" And I was like, "I don't know. You, I'll tell you when I can." And he's like, "What does that even mean?" I was like, "I'll just let you know." And so it was so surprisingly easy to keep this secret
Mhm.
because one, I was excited about the concert that I was going to. So like any excitement, I just forced that out, which I was also excited about the concert too. But like I just used that as the excuse, the outlet for it.
Mhm. When was the concert?
That was the DM. The DM excitement I used for the concert. The other one, after Ed came to my house, so I got the DM August 31st. The concert was September 2nd, and then Ed came to my house September 6th. So
Okay.
then Ed posted the TikTok. My friend came to visit from Vancouver, and she was staying at the house, and, like, I was surprisingly calm. Like, that night, I think I was like, my head was racing, but it was very easy to keep this secret. He posted about it, and all of the excitement, I felt like a volcano erupting, like, all of that, like, I started shaking. I started like, "Oh my gosh, Kelly, I need to tell you this right now because you posted about I can actually talk about it." I just had been suppressing it. I truly
You
felt like
burst
a
out.
volcano. Yeah, like, there's no other way to describe it other than just like a volcano, like, erupting. Like, it was so suppressed and it just came out. So then Kelly J witnessed me tell the story 1,000,001 times because before I posted about it, I wanted to tell everyone and have all of the reactions. So I have like little videos of me on FaceTime getting everyone's reactions before I even
That's
posted
so
about it.
sweet. Oh, that's such a cool idea. And the fact you journaled as well, I think that's the best thing you could have done because when you have this overflow of emotions, you
Mhm.
black out, like you said at the beginning. So probably the details you still remember is because you sealed them in your mind while writing it.
Like, if you watch the video, several times I closed my eyes just to, like, hear it, but then I would, like, tell myself, "No, like, open your eyes and, like, remember this." I wanted to, like, listen to it, but I could hear that on the album later. Like, I needed to, like, remember what I'm seeing, everything around me, everything. Like, it was very important to me to remember every detail.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I have 6 pages of it.
Wow. Basically, you were in your own bubble until the news came out.
And that bubble burst, and it burst loud.
And then when you posted online, did you have like a big reaction online as well?
It got a lot of attention. It was crazy. The original TikTok, I don't think I was tagged in. It wasn't until Ed posted the "Wake Me Up" video that he tagged me,
Mhm.
and that was when everyone that I had not known before started following, started messaging, being like, "What the heck? What happened?" That's whenever Deborah, who I met at the pop-up, was like, "You got one too?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then I was so excited, and then she's oh my gosh, oh my gosh,
Alright.
oh my gosh.
'Cause you
Um
knew her, but she couldn't say anything and you couldn't, so
mhm.
you both didn't know.
Young, and it was
Wow.
crazy because, that happened again later. Deborah sent me pictures of when Ed was at her house, and he's wearing the friendship bracelet, so she had the next day, and I was so excited. He wore it to the next houses. It was so special, and he wore it to Courtney Cox's house. He wore it on stage at SoFi. He wore it on stage at the Amazon Music, that little concert
He's
he
so
did.
precious. Oh my gosh.
And then he asked me if I saw him wear it to SoFi, and I was like, "Yes? What the heck was that
Of
about?" It was
course I did.
crazy. Of course, I have screenshots. Are you kidding me?
Wait. So at SoFi, actually, because American Town now was out, he played it on stage. It was part of the set list.
It was crazy. Like, I cried so many times that night that one of the security guards saw me, like, use my sleeve to, like, compose myself, and he
Mm.
gives me a packet of tissues. I still have it. He gives me a packet of tissues because he saw how many times I've been crying that night. I cried during American Town, I cried during
Aw.
Photograph, End of Youth, I cried during, so many. I was a ball of puddle that night. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
You're asking me what I felt. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just crazy. The fact that he played American Town was
The word that would come to mind if I would see you in that state is overwhelmed, but in a
Mhm.
good way.
It was so special.
You're reminiscing now with us, speaking about all of these details, and you probably haven't told the story in a while. So I can feel you getting all emotional and at the verge of crying sometimes.
There's a lot of tears, but it was cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm so glad and so thankful that you are on the podcast to tell us the story. There's more to come. That's what's crazier is you'd think that's one in a lifetime experience and that's it. You won't ever get to have this one-on-one moment with Ed ever again.
Mhm.
But actually, no, because the story isn't over. And you're gonna tell us in part 2.